welcome to the compact track loader demonstration this morning. We have the SVL 75, the SVL 90 that we'd like to demonstrate. We also have some of the competition here today. We have the Caterpillar, the Takeuchi, and the Bobcat. Now this demonstration is going to be going back and forth between myself and my counterpart, Tom Mason.
First thing we want to point out about the Bobcat T190 is one of the most popular CTLs in the marketplace. This machine has sold over 10,000 units and it's very popular in rental fleets, but it does have some drawbacks. We'd like to look first at the size of the cab entry and the foot spacing. David, how tall are you? 6 feet. David's a 6-foot operator. You'll notice his feet, very limited. Also has the halo type lockout device that Mike talked about earlier. Getting in and out of the machine for a tall operator, that halo device sometimes becomes an issue. This machine is equipped with an optional electronics over hydraulic pilot joystick control. This is an option for this machine. Again, entering and exit the machine, this is a pretty high step. And later today, as we're changing out some attachments on all of the machines, please notice how the operators almost all have to scoot up forward in order to see where their quick connects are and also where their bucket edges are. For an operator in the machine all day long, having to constantly bend forward and scoot forward, it just doesn't make for a comfortable experience. Our cab is so open and wide in design, Eric has great visibility to the corners and to the quick couplers. Bobcat, little things make a big difference. Grease zerks. You have to get your grease gun up through this hole to hit this grease fitting back here. You have to search where the grease fittings are on this machine. If you don't see it, you don't grease it. Their grease zerks are also exposed to debris on job sites that can actually knock some off. Again, ours are recessed for easy access. If a machine doesn't get greased, there's a consequence for not greasing the machine. David, if you'll raise this machine, loader arms on this machine. Now this is a rental machine. It's got almost 500 hours on it, so I don't want to say that it's brand new. But again, when a machine doesn't get greased, you get play in the pins and the bushings, and you get this kind of wear and slop in the machine. At 500 hours, again, I don't know if that's acceptable. Another thing we'd like to point out is their undercarriage. See how just yesterday in our ride and drive, the debris builds up on that track undercarriage. It often gets inside the carriage itself. If anybody has Bobcats that does any kind of maintenance on these things and washes them, it sometimes takes an hour to get all the dirt off these machines. Another little thing, they too have a washout plug on theirs, but it requires tools to remove nuts and bolts in order to drop the flaps when washing out the debris from the inside of the cab. All right, David.
I think the first thing you'll notice as he came in was the operating space in the cab, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. But what I'd like to point out first, the Cat ASV with this roller system are promoting a smooth ride. That's what they're selling, and that's what they're telling you this machine is going to give you, the smoothest ride in the industry. Well, when I look at this, I see a lot of moving parts. I see a lot of maintenance, a lot of cost, a lot of upkeep to keep this undercarriage and track system performing the way it's designed to be performed.
What we want to demonstrate here with this KX057 is bucket breakout force. Drew, if you can cut your machine off for just a minute. We're going to bring up each machine, let the machine's bucket grab to the lip of the front end of the excavator blade, and with the hydraulic cylinder and loader arm, let's see how much force they have This machine with its weight is about 12,000 pounds. Drew?
Full RPM.
Again, please note how David has to look forward to just see and access the front couplers with this machine. Also note that the Bobcat has an electronic joystick controls, electronic over hydraulics. When you're in the field today, you're going to see how just sensitive and uncontrollable that type of control system is.
Full RPM.
Notice how the front end of the Caterpillar collapses on that torsion bar. That's where it loses its loader lift function.
Full RPM.
How about that for bucket breakout for us?
And we're going to demonstrate the stall guard feature in standard equipment on our SVL 75 and our SVL 90. Full RPM. The machine stalls. That's your horsepower management system. Not very convenient when you're doing a lot of loader work and you're going in and out of piles all day. Full RPM. Good, Sam. Thank you. Now you'll notice that the stall guard feature actually works on the Caterpillar, but you notice what it does. It brings the RPMs down when the machine gets in a stall position and then gradually brings them back up. As Drew brings the Takeuchi in, let's see how it performs under a load. Stalls. No anti-stall on the Takeuchi. And it's not even offered as an option. Again, a lot of inconvenience when you're working in piles all day. Full RPM. You notice how the RPMs come down, then they come back up to give you that extra torque to actually continue through, to lift your bucket, and to scoop your load. The lift capacity challenge. Now, both these demonstrations show you your normal working conditions. With the stall guard, you're in piles, you're out of piles all day. With the lift capacity challenge, you've actually gone from the pile and now you're going to the truck. So let's see what we can actually pick up out of that pile once we've got a bucket full. And I want you to notice the weights we have inside this bucket, and we have weights attached to the bottom of the bucket. Now what the operator is instructed to do when he gets behind this weight is he will hook up, and all he's going to do is use his loader lever arm to move the directional loader up. There's no curling of the bucket, no rotating of the bucket, just the loader arms for your lift capacity. Okay, now we're going to level the bucket. The bucket is level. I'm going to direct Dave to give it full RPM. There's what we've got at full RPM. All we did was tilt the bucket a little forward. Okay, we're going to level the bucket. Sam's going to put it at full RPM. Only the lever. Only the loader lever. Did you notice the tracks? How the rollers and the tracks kind of collapsed and squatted down as he tried to lift it? Sacrificing lift capacity for that smooth ride, which isn't really a smooth ride. Full RPM, Drew? Looks pretty good. Looks good. What's happening there? Stability. Couldn't keep the machine down. Lift capacity is no good when you can't keep the machine on the ground. Okay? Full RPM. Loader only, no bucket. Okay, I think we're getting close to where the Takeuchi was, where it lost its balance before. Notice the tracks on the machine. You're staying on the ground. And where's your load going? Where it's supposed to go? Up. You notice that in a lot of our excavator demos, we'll always do something just to see if the machine can do it in idle. Okay? 4,480 pounds is what we have in this bucket, and that's what we've given our competitors the opportunity to lift. Obviously, they can't lift it. Takeuchi got it a few feet off the ground and McCann on the stable. Eric, let's try this at idle. This is at idle. Even if it only picked it up halfway, you could sell that, right? But this will take it all the way to load your truck with it, 4,480 pounds. And look at the rear of the tracks, stable as they can be. How about that for KBT engineering? Now, I told you we're going to bring the Bobcat back. We're going to give them an opportunity to lift this bucket again. But we're going to try to make it a little more equal for them this time. We're going to give them a little help. So, my question to you guys, we're going to take some weights off. These are 92 pounds apiece. And we're going to remove some weights to give the Bobcat the opportunity to get this bucket off the ground. So, how many weights should we take off before the Bobcat can lift the bucket? All of them? That's let's give them a little more confidence in their ability to lift than that. Let's try out 5. How about that? 5 at 92 pounds apiece. Full RPM. Take it to the top. Full RPM. That's it? Okay. We got it off the ground that time anyway. We didn't tilt it. Let's take all the weights off. With the weights on the bottom of the bucket that we've added here, all 3 weights, roughly 500 pounds apiece, the Bobcat can only get the bucket off the ground with the weights, what, 3 feet, 3.5 feet? Now that concludes our demonstration.